And there we have it, people. Man United 0, Arsenal 1, first game of the season. All the excitement leading up to today's game and underwhelming. I mean, let's face it, the positive is we won, we've got 3 points. That's all we can ask for, really. We've got a tough running coming up, so it's a good start, but the performance left a lot to be desired, let's face it. We'll go through it now. I mean, in terms of the lineups, I was a bit surprised, to be honest. Gabriel starting. I really fancied that Kiwior would start. Now, I don't know at this point why he wasn't involved, because he wasn't even on the bench. And it kind of worries me. I'm thinking, like, is he going? Is there something happening there? So we'll see what plays out there. But Gabriel played. And my only issue with Gabriel playing really was fitness. You know, he hasn't really had much in terms of pre-season. Yes, he's been training, but in terms of game time, I think he played in the last game, but he was sluggish, which is understandable. You know, he's come off a bad injury at the last season, back end of last season. So yeah, I was surprised that he got the nod, and certainly, you know, if you looked at the first half, to me, as well as a load of other players, he was just well off it. So anyway, that was an interesting one. Calafiori as well. Again, I've heard some people say around Lewis Skelly that, you know, again, he has looked off the pace. I mean, I'm hearing this a lot, but to be honest, and we'll summarise this in a bit, I think we could say this about the whole team at this point. But yeah, he chose Calafiori instead of Lewis Skelly. I was a bit surprised on that. Midfield, we fully expected Zubimendi to start, which he did. Ødegaard, Rice, and Gyokeres up front. Thank God. I honestly thought that perhaps Havertz would get the nod, but fortunately he went with Gyokeres. Saka, Martinelli down the flanks. So, you know, pretty much to be expected, really, in terms of that starting lineup. But in terms of the performance and the start, it was just, from our point of view, it was kind of a non-starter. There was bits of nice build-up play. Ødegaard, I want to give a mention to him, because to me, he was probably the best player on the pitch. Composed on the ball, nice few touches, nutmegged Casemiro, I think, at some point. Really nice bit of skill, and then drew a foul. He looked really sharp, to be fair. So that's a real kind of positive. We know that he had a pretty poor last season, I think by his own admission, really, and his own levels. He knows he was well off it last season. So it was good to see a much better performance from him yesterday. But, you know, I'm looking at the other players and I'm thinking the defence was just all over the place. You know, and again, you know, we're having to rely on set pieces. I mean, you know, listen, it's not a bad weapon to have. I'm glad that we're good at set pieces, so don't get me wrong. But again, you know, we're having to rely on that because we're not really creating anything from anywhere else on the pitch. But nonetheless, cracking delivery from Rice, as we come to expect on the 13th minute. Goalkeeper flapped at it a bit, touched it with his hand, but it just went past him. And then Calafiori was there in the right place at the right time just to knock it in over the line. Other than that, I'm going to be a bit controversial on Calafiori. I don't think outside of that he was that great. I mean, he wasn't awful, but the amount of times he's great at going forward, but when it comes to going back, he just leaves the area. And there was so many times that the ball got transferred to Mbeumo, and he had endless opportunities going down the right. He seemed to just have the run of him all day long. So, and on that note, I think Mbeumo, Cunha really had good debuts for Man United. But yeah, as I say, some of our performances, Saka, I mean, I've rarely seen him have such a poor performance. Don't know what was going on there, to be honest, but he was really, really off the pace of it. Martinelli just does what we expect of Martinelli, which is very fucking little. He'll just run down, head down the wing, cut back, either lose it or play it back. He doesn't really commit anybody, or, you know, his shots are generally awful. So there wasn't a lot coming from him. Gyokeres was again starved of service, and he looks again like the rest of the team, just well off the pace. Now, with Gyokeres, of course, there's mitigating circumstances there. You know, with this whole protracted transfer, You know, the fact that he went on strike and he wasn't training with Sporting. And I'm sure he did some fitness, you know, with his own team, etc. But it's not the same as obviously training with Sporting and being involved in that. You know, and as a result, he's just, as I say, he's well off the pace, as well as obviously getting used to new teammates, etc. Listen, he had glimpses where you could see the hold-up play, the strength, and what he can potentially offer us going forward. So, you know, I'm taking the positives out of his performance. I know he wasn't great, but as I say, he was a focal point, something different than what we've had in the past. And you'd like to think that when he's up to speed, that's going to be a real benefit for us going forward. And as always, I mean, yes, he can run down the channels and he's good at doing that, but I like the way that he stays central as well. You know, he's always there and thereabouts. So, because he's wanting to sniff our goals, and that's what we need. So, I'm looking forward to seeing him in future games and really build up his fitness, and we start to see a sharper Gyokeres that hopefully bangs in the goals that we so desperately need. But ultimately, it's going to come down to the creativity behind him, and somebody needs to step up. And I don't know from where, but you know, whether this comes from external, you know, whether we need to bring somebody in, I think we still need to. Looks like we're going to miss out on Eze, so who is it going to be? You know, I think you guys know who I would want. Rodrigo on the left. I think he offers so much in terms of creativity. So I'd like to see that something will happen in the transfer market, because I'm looking internally at our team and thinking, where are the solutions? And it's all pointing to a 15-year-old Max Dowman, which is ridiculous. But, you know, he's so amazing that he probably offers more than a load of our first team players at the moment going forward in terms of creating and, you know, committing players and all the rest of that stuff. So, but listen, as I say, it ended up 1-0. We rode our luck massively. You know, if we're honest, if I'm honest, I think Man United deserve something out of that game. You know, we got away with one really today. So, but, you know, it's all about results, isn't it? So that's what I'm going to focus on, the positive about it. I'm just being honest and open in terms of how I saw the performance, and it was pretty poor. But, you know, what I can say is we were defensively resilient, I want to say. I don't think we were brilliant defensively, but we were good at putting our bodies on the line, being resilient and grinding this result out. But I just hope, as I say, that over the coming weeks, we start to click a bit more. I want to see a bit more. I mean, I saw this in pre-season. I'm just not seeing any cohesion in our play, you know? So I want to see that over the coming weeks. But hey, we love going to Old Trafford and winning. Outside of all of that, it was brilliant to go to Old Trafford and win. And, you know, this is what we wanted. The first game of the season, 3 points, we're off the mark. Let's go on to Leeds on next weekend. And let's build some momentum, as we've got some really tough games coming up. So, yeah, let's see what happens. Great to have you here. As always, please make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Please get in touch and let me know your thoughts on the game. I love to hear from you guys. But great to have you here. Thanks for watching. See you next time.